I don't know about you, but I've had quite a week, and now I'm told there are only something like 18 shopping days to Christmas. Although, to be honest with you, I've never quite known why they decided to have Christmas when all the shops are so crowded. But high on everybody's Christmas present list, I'm quite sure, will be Prime Time, the first novel to be penned by Joan Collins. And what's more, the lady herself is amongst my guests tonight. We'll be hearing a brand new single that will certainly be high on the Christmas chart, and meeting the man who sings it, that's Chris Rea. We'll also meet a very fine actor from Ireland who's worked with Clint Eastwood and Robert De Niro, and I'm talking about Liam Neeson. Then my guest critics are the former Liberal leader, David Steele, and the very glamorous star of Howard's Way, Jan Harvey. But my first guest is probably one of television's most famous mums, notably in Not in Front of the Children and Butterflies. Her new book is called Kid Stuff, and it's just been published in aid of Save the Children's Fund. And I'm delighted to say she's with us today. It's Wendy Craig. I know that you've been very busy the last couple of years, but, you know, we haven't actually seen you on our television screen, so was that your decision?
Yes, people keep saying to me, where are you? Have you retired? And I thought, well, it's not such a bad thing to not be on the television all the time, you know, because they might just get a bit sick of the sight of me. So actually, I've been quietly beavering away. Well, not that quietly. I've been doing a play in the theatre, Geoffrey Archer's play, Beyond Reasonable Doubt. And I've made a television series, and there's this book, and I've also made an LP. Great. Or do they call them albums these days?
Well,
yes.
Either will do. But I'd like to concentrate on the book. I love the idea of it, the fact of all these lovely childhood memories.
Yes, isn't it a good idea? The book company, they rang me up and said, look, we want to get a book together to raise some money for Save the Children. And we've had this idea. We get famous people to talk about their childhood memories. And I think it's a super idea. So I said I'd love to help you with that, help you compile it. So I wrote off lots of letters to people, and they were so generous. A lot of them answered, very busy
who,
people.
for example?
Well, from all walks of life. We have actors, sportsmen, churchmen, politicians, all sorts of people have written their little memories of what happened to them in their childhood.
Any you particularly like?
Well, I have to admit that I love Bob Hoskins. He wrote that he was staying in a seaside boarding house. I think it belonged to his aunt or something like that in Southend. And they were having a Christmas party. And there were 5 children and Bob. They were girls, 5 girls and Bob. And they were all talking about what they were going to wear at the party, their dresses and how pretty they were going to be. Well, the party came and they were all getting dressed up, and Bob's mother put him into a little sailor suit. And all of a sudden he started to scream the place down. And he was kicking and yelling, and they said, what's the matter? And he said, I want to wear a party dress. And he screamed until his aunt had to search around and find a party dress to put him in. And he said he looked like a little action man in drag, because you know what Bob's like. He always plays sort of gangsters and tough men.
Actually, when you analyse your own television career in particular, children have played a very important part, haven't they?
Yes, they have, yes. Yes, I do seem to have played a lot of mothers and worked a lot with children. Because even in Nanny I did, didn't I?
What's it like, though, having, you know, nationwide families?
Oh, it's lovely. It's very nice. I get lots of very nice warm letters from mums and dads and children and grannies and everybody. And people stop me in the street and say, watching your show is a bit like being at home, and you're just like my wife, or you're just like my mum, or sometimes even, I wish I had a mum like you. And I think to myself, if you knew what I was really like, you wouldn't say that.
I loved that comment by a taxi driver once when he said it was like looking through his letterbox, you know.
Watching, yes, watching Mother Makes 5, yes.
Did you ever get fed up, though, of the slightly dotty lady? Because Ria wasn't she?
No, Ria wasn't dotty. Ria was a dreamer. Now, I would say that that Sally Harrison in Mother Makes 5 is quite dotty. But, you know, there was a sort of fashion for dottiness. There are trends in humour, and there was Lucille Ball, and all those people were being a bit dotty. It was quite trendy to be dotty. But now, of course, with all the sort of feminism and all that kind of thing coming in, it's very much frowned upon. But I enjoyed it because those slightly scatty ladies I played, I mean, they were very warm and feminine and loving women. They didn't do anything to upset anyone.
Oh, no, they were lovable. And actually, I was thinking last year we had Betty Davis on Sunday, and during that programme we played a clip of a horror movie that you made along with her. If I remember correctly, it was called The Nanny, wasn't it?
The Nanny, yes, indeed. Oh, she was wonderful to work with, you know. We were all very nervous at first because we thought she's going to be a bit fearsome. And indeed, when she arrived, she was a bit tough. But when she realised that we were all going to help her, we were not going to do her down or try to steal scenes or anything like, we were her friends, she settled down and she became really wonderful to work with. And so funny. You'd be amazed what a funny lady she is.
Do you keep in touch with her still?
I phone her up occasionally when she comes to London and I say, it's Wendy Craig here, how are you? Do you remember me? And she always says, of course I remember you, what are you talking about? She's really great.
Well, Wendy, lovely conversation today, lovely stories from your book, and I do wish you well. Wish you well with your shopping tomorrow. I'll give everybody the details as to how they can go Christmas shopping with you tomorrow.
All right.
But in the meantime, thank you very much indeed. Wendy Craig. And Wendy indeed will be at the Café Royal tomorrow. She'll be opening the Festival of Trees Christmas Bazaar, and that's also an Aid of Save the Children fund, so you can all do your Christmas shopping at that particular spot. Well, my next guest is a musician who made Middlesbrough the rock capital of the world, at least that's what he says. He's written such great hits as On the Beach and that lovely song Fool If You Think It's Over. Well, he's about to start a short nationwide tour, and here he is with his band to play the new single. It's called Driving Home for Christmas, and a very big welcome to Chris Rea.
Driving home for Christmas. Oh, I can't wait to see those faces. Driving home for Christmas, yeah. Well, I'm moving down that line, and it's been so long, but I will be there. I sing this song to pass the time away, driving in my car, driving home for Christmas. It's gonna take some time, but I'll get there. Top to toe in tailbacks. Oh, I got red lights all around, but soon there'll be a freeway, yeah. Get my feet on holy ground. So I sing for you, though you can't hear me when I get through, and feel you near me. Driving in my car, I'm driving home for Christmas. Driving home for Christmas with 1,000 memories. I take a look at the driver next to me. He's just the same, just the same. Top to toe in tailbacks. Oh, I got red lights all around. I'm driving home for Christmas, yeah. Get my feet holy ground. So I sing for you, though you can't hear me when I get through. Go and feel you near me, driving in my car, driving home for Christmas, driving home for Christmas with 1,000 memories.
Are you feeling the cold or something? You're not taking your coat off?
No, it's a brand new coat and I refuse to take it off.
Well, you're just right. You're just... Actually, it's a very good song, but I kind of get the feeling there must be a great story behind it.
Well, there is actually. It resulted in buying this coat in the end. About 8 years ago, when my career wasn't going very well, we finished this recording session in London, and we were driving home, and it wasn't a very successful recording session. My wife and I had about £280, and it was for the whole of the Christmas week. And all the way home, we were driving like through the night and trying to figure out how this £280 was going to be spent. And we didn't get back till about 4 o'clock in the morning. There was lots and lots of snow, which made it even better. And there on the floor was my first ever PRS check. And they're the people that look after songwriters and send them the money that they're due. And it was a considerable amount of money. You know.
So it was a good Christmas that year.
It was great. It was like magic, you know. And I found the first verse in one of my old guitar cases. And quite emotional, really, you know.
Great. Do you go back to Middlesbrough very much?
I was back there last week for a good friend of mine's 21st. His son's 21st, not his 21st. I'm too old. So I was back there. That was the first time in 4 years.
Was it nice to go back?
Yeah, it was this time. I've been back before, and I was horrified the first time I went back because it was so depressed, and I'd had a lucky few years and things had moved on. But this time I went back, I actually things are starting to happen again in the north, which is really good. And also the first thing I noticed was there was no McDonald's papers anywhere. And it was really nice.
Actually, this year, you had a very bad injury to your hand. I mean, your guitar playing days were almost finished, didn't they?
Well, some members of the band say they were they were finished 4 years ago.
What happened exactly?
Well, I re-signed with a record company called Warner Brothers, and I had a game of tennis with their managing director, who recommended that I change my racket size to a smaller handle. And the next morning I got up and it was like that, and it just wouldn't move. I was in the process also of building I like building fountains, and I was building this Provence fountain, and the statue came away, and it cost me a fortune, this statue, so grabbed hold of it with this other lad and then pulled all the tendons away from here, so I had to have operations on it. And for about 4 months, nothing, you know.
Worrying time.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. Well, anyway, you're in fine action these days, so I'm sure we'll hear a lot of the record actually between now and Christmas. Where are you driving to Christmas this year?
Well, home now is down here because my daughters and that are down here. So the family, anyway, my house is always full. I've got brothers who come down from Middlesbrough, cousins who come from Brighton, half the road crew, always living in our house anyway. So it's just a question of putting some more potatoes on, really.
A bigger turkey in the oven. Well, good luck with the record anyway, Chris, and thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Chris Rea. And you can see Chris at Wembley Arena. That's later on this month. And indeed, after the break, we'll be finding out what's happening in and around London this week, along with my guest critics. That's David Steele and Jan Harvey. But don't forget, still to come, we have Liam Neeson and Joan Collins, so don't go far away. And welcome back. My guest critics this week are both used to being leaders of one sort or another. One is a fashion leader in a television drama, and the other the former leader of the Liberal Party. So here they are, Jan Harvey and David Steele. Both of you, I hope, have got a little bit more free time to be critics. Your series finished last Sunday, Jan?
That's right, yes. Time off to go and look round.
That's nice, actually, isn't it, to have a bit of time?
Fantastic.
Do you find you got any extra time, David,
Yeah,
or
my
not?
series finished as well. Just a month or two ago. Yes, I'm enjoying more time to myself.
Good. Well, we sent our critics to the cinema this week to see the film that all America's been raving about. It's called Who Framed Roger Rabbit? It's made $250 million to date, and it was filmed over here, and it stars our own Bob Hoskins.
Oh, boy, what is this? Some kind of a session room?
It's a rot gut room. Holdover from Prohibition.
Oh, I get it. A speakeasy, a gin mill, a hooch parlor.
Tools are up here, Eddie.
Look at here. It's a fire hole. Jeepers, Eddie, this would be a great place to hide. Crazy tools. Watch your head.
You said you'd never take another tool case. What'd you have, a change of heart?
Nothing's changed. Somebody's made a patsy out of me, and I'm gonna find out why. Hold still, will ya?
Does this help?
Yeah, thanks. Do you mean to tell me that you could have taken your hand out of that cuff at any time?
No, not at any time. Only when it was funny.
Of course, it was a huge, huge success in America. Had you been looking forward to seeing it, David?
Well, I hadn't been looking forward to seeing it because I didn't know about it. In fact, without giving away the trade secrets of this program, we were asked to be critics before we knew what it was we were going to see. And when someone said, you're going to go and see a film about a cartoon rabbit, I thought, oh, no, this is going to be... And I thought it was fantastic. It really is a very entertaining film, and it's one of the few films I've seen recently where it will do for all ages.
Did you feel it lived up to the hype, Jan? Because it has had enormous press, hasn't it?
Yes, I did. Absolutely. It is quite extraordinary. The animation is unbelievable. It's three-dimensional, isn't it? I don't quite know how they've done it, but they don't really seem like cartoon characters. They feel real. So much so that I was very worried about David at one point when Jessica came on, this very glamorous girlfriend of Roger Rabbit, and I lost his attention entirely.
They say that, I haven't seen it, I've only seen some short clips, but they say that technically it's just brilliant. So were you impressed by that?
Yes, I was, but because I didn't know, unlike you, I didn't know about the film beforehand, when it started, the first, 2 or 3 minutes is all cartoons. And I was beginning to sink in my seat and wonder, what I was doing here. And then suddenly, I won't spoil it for the viewers, but suddenly the people arrive and it transforms, and it is technically absolutely brilliant and very, very funny.
Does that work? Because, you see, I've watched the clip and I sort of think, well, does that combination of animation and real people, as it were, does that really work?
Absolutely. It's extraordinary. And you get completely caught up with it. It's amazing.
But Bob Hoskins and a rabbit, I mean, what really is the story in the long run?
Well, picture, if you will, 40s Hollywood. A wonderful, disaffected sort of Humphrey Bogart character is Bob Hoskins. He is terrific in it, absolutely wonderful, very winning. And he's called into one of the big studios because they're having trouble with their leading man. Their leading man turns out to be a cartoon character, Roger Rabbit. And they think it might be because his wife Jessica has been playing about a bit. And it goes from there. And you go into Toontown. And what I thought was very interesting was that they made a comment about the violence. It is very violent, as all cartoon films are. I mean, Tom and Jerry terrify the life out of me. That's right. But in actual fact, they make an internal comment there because Eddie Valiant's, who's the name of Bob Hoskins, his brother was killed by a cartoon character dropping a piano on his head. And you sort of suddenly realise that cartoon characters can get away with it, humans can't. And it's a nice touch. It's a nice touch for the children to remember, too.
Except that I thought it was just a little bit too violent. Towards the end, there were bits... Throughout the film, there are echoes of other films, bits of The Godfather, bits of Humphrey Bogart, bits of Philip Marlowe, but also bits of sort of Hammer horror films right at the end. And I thought, maybe I'm too sensitive to this sort of thing, but I think that young children might find it, even with the cartoon figures, a bit too horrific.
Who were your favourite characters, though? Because I should imagine all the favourite cartoon people turn up.
They were all there, weren't
they?
They
were.
I think the cat at the beginning. I never remember which is Tom and which is Jerry, but the cat anyway.
So in the end, you would vote it a great hit for all age groups, would you?
Absolutely. Absolutely,
Great.
can't fail.
Well, certainly that film gets top marks on the programme today. Now, the Americans really can make movies, but there's still one area in which they can't match us, the royal family. We sent our critics to a London exhibition, which opened earlier on this year. It celebrates 1,000 years of Britain's royal history, and it's called simply Royal Britain. Now, David, are you particularly interested in royalty anyway?
Well, I rub shoulders with them all the time, yes. No, I think it's a very good history lesson. That's the first thing to be said for it. And I would seriously recommend it for anybody who's wanting to get a quick perspective on British history as seen through the kings and queens of England, I have to say, mainly, and then Britain.
Because the Scottish ones get a bit complicated,
The Scottish ones are not included in this until, of course, James VI came down and took over the English throne. You'll remember that bit. But and all are descended from him ever since.
You've written about royalty as well, though, haven't you?
Yes, well, Judy and I did a book on Mary Queen of Scots, and there's a very good, one of the better parts of the historic exhibition is the execution of Mary Queen of Scots. But it traces royalty right back from the very beginnings of the Angles and Saxons and right through to the present day. And I think it's patchy, but it's very educative and it's very interesting and it's something different, and I think it's commendable.
Have you played royalty, Jan, as a matter of interest? Have you ever had one of those roles?
Yes, I've played Queen Edith of the Swan Neck, who was actually Edward the Confessor's wife in Churchill's People, that series done by the BBC many years ago. And also I played Princess Daisy of Pless, who was the possible last mistress of Edward VII.
So you've been able to look at it then from both points of view, but also, you see, you've been a teacher in the past. Yes. So would you pick up on David's theme of it being educational?
Yes, I would give a rider to it. I think that you would need to be well prepared. The teacher would need to be well prepared. I think also to make great use of the guides there, who are called hosts, young men, extremely helpful, who certainly for me added a density of interest. Were able to point out that the visuals in this particular section were so because they were based on tapestries which could be seen at the Hampton Court, and things like that, which I found made it much more interesting.
And presumably tourists will adore it, because I can see the Americans flocking into that exhibition, can't you?
I suspect that the organisers had that very much in mind. But it has some lovely touches coming up to date. There is a Bakelite pre-war radio which is broadcasting the abdication speech, the actual abdication speech, the tape of Edward VIII. And then something that I certainly remember, which were the scenes of the coronation on 1953 television sets.
That's
remember
right.
the old brown things that stood this high?
Yes.
Little screens like that in black and white.
And a Ferguson 59 guineas,
yeah,
was it?
Yeah, it was,
59 guineas.
Yes, because we can all remember the thrill of actually getting that first television set and watching pictures like that.
with the lights out.
Of course.
Yes.
Well, I'm pleased you enjoyed your adventures out this week, and thank you both very much indeed for joining us. Jan Harvey and David Steele. The Royal Britain exhibition, by the way, is on at Aldersgate. That's right opposite Barbican Tube Station. And Who Framed Roger Rabbit is now on all over London. But also on in and around the area, lots and lots of Christmassy things. Aladdin, for example, that stars Lorraine Chase, and it opens at the Ashcroft Theatre in Croydon on Friday. Postman Pat's Adventures start at London's Royalty Theatre on Thursday. Then there's a grand Christmas pudding race. That's being held at the Piazza in Covent Garden next Saturday. Then from Sunday, you'll find Bob Monkhouse in Cabaret. That's at the Lakeside Country Club in Frimley until New Year's Eve. And who could forget the Joan Collins Fan Club? He scored a great success on the show last week, and he's going to be at Sadler's Wells tonight and tomorrow. Now, my next guest is an Irish film star who is, according to all the people who know these things, making his way right to the very, very top. He's made the long journey from Ballymena, that I know very well, to Beverly Hills, and in the last few years, he's worked with names like De Niro, Eastwood, and Cher. His latest film, High Spirits, opens next week, and in it he plays a 200-year-old ghost whose nightly haunting is interrupted by a 20th century lady.
Oh, Mary, I'm sorry, darling. What have I done to you? What have I done?
Oh, God. Oh, God. Here, give us a wee scalpel for it, honest. No. Not again. Jeez, you're a wild wee vixen, aren't you?
Oh, Lord, what have I done? Oh, God, what have I done?
Oh, God, what a woman.
What a man. Here he is, Liam Neeson. You've got the right colour on anyway for making Irish films these days.
I wore this just for you.
Was it, well, I haven't seen the film, but is it very typical of Irish humour, do you think?
I don't know. I haven't seen the film either. No, I'm only lying. It is. There's a lot of Irishisms in it. There's a really good Irish cast. Donald McCann, Tom Hickey. And it kind of, it pokes fun at Irish myths and legends, but it's very light and romantic and airy and a wee bit scary too.
And also you're able to retain your good Ulster accent as well in that film. No changing it for that.
No.
Bit strange, though, having to play the role of a ghost, surely.
Yeah, it was interesting because you can, because there were like so many special effects to do, and that always takes an eternity to set up. So there were times when I had to make an entrance through a door, like literally walk through a door, which is a special effect, which I'm not going to bore you how it's done. But it required me to stand for like 2 minutes, 3 minutes at a time while, the grips and stuff changed, the set and stuff. And I actually thought to myself, these people aren't paying a blind bit of heed to me at all. I was just standing there and I hadn't to move a muscle. So it was like being in a kind of a suspended animation, which was easy then to sort of think as a ghost,
Have you
make sense?
Sort of. Have you played much comedy, though, before?
I've never played comedy on film, Laurie. I've done it on stage a few times. And it was interesting because my first day on High Spirits was shot in Shepperton Studios, which is a big, windy, drafty studios. And the crew who shot a film I was in called The Mission. So they, we kind of knew each other. And I'm dressed, well, actually I wasn't dressed because my first scene was this bed scene with Beverly D'Angelo, who plays the human lady. She's a great actress and a great girl. But it was, I was naked from here up, covered in this white paint and this wig and these chops, And I'm to lie in the bed, and there's a special effect where the bed comes into view, and I'm supposed to appear. And Beverly's like doing her nails, and I'm supposed to sort of do something down her back, and she's to sort of turn around like that, Well, it was my first day. I was quite nervous, and, it's supposed to be a funny scene, So Beverly and I go through the scene, and there's silence afterwards. The grips are doing all this, they're drinking tea. And I'm thinking, is it funny? What's happening? And I was really nervous, And Neil Jordan, the director, Neil comes up and says, Liam, could you, I'll go, yes, Neil, could you make it funnier? I thought, oh, God. I've got 3 months of this thing to get through, So.
Now, as a good lad from Ballymena, as I know you, of course, I mean, it's a pretty long way professionally to Hollywood. How did you make that transition?
I think I must have slept with the right people. It was, I don't know, I've been really lucky, and I have a modicum of talent, and I just seem to be in the right place at the right time, and, people seem to like me, and I just found myself getting cast and stuff.
When you go to Hollywood at the beginning, though, is it a question, really, of knowing the right people or being in the right place at the right time?
Well, I think you can make your own luck. You can make your own timing, I'd done a couple of things. I'd done a Miami Vice, which opened a lot of doors, surprisingly. This is like Miami Vice is like a glossy show. There's no substance to it. But the one I did, 20 million people happened to see this. And I was playing this sort of suave international terrorist playboy, and I was wearing great clothes, Armani suits and stuff. So I kind of looked all right, So anyway, when I got out there and the agents sent me around casting directors and stuff, they had an idea of who I was, So things started to happen. So
the Irish mummy must be very proud.
Oh, she is. Hi, Mummy. Wherever you are.
Does she keep all your cuttings?
She does, and she has good cuttings. She has good photographs of stuff I'd been in that I haven't even seen. You know, I go back to Ballymena and she'll root out some photograph of, you know, myself and Cher. I did a film with Cher, and she's got these photographs I've never seen in my life. You know, I don't think anybody else has, but my mother has them.
I tell you what, Northern Ireland people are great, though, at keeping your feet on the ground. I mean, what does she think about your sex symbol image that you have?
I haven't really discussed that with her, you know. I think she certainly doesn't take it seriously because I don't take it seriously, you know.
But some great movies you've made. You see, we mentioned the Mission. You've got Jeremy Irons and De Niro and so on. That was a great film to be in, wasn't it?
It was really special. On a lot of levels, it was very, very special, you know.
Were they good fun to work alongside?
Yes, they were. They were very, very different in their way, but we had a strong Irish cast too. Ray McAnally was in it, and I'll never forget Barry McGuigan was fighting for Barry McGuigan, the ex-world featherweight champion. Barry was fighting in London for the world title, and I'll never forget myself and Ray McAnally dressed as these 18th century Jesuits in the middle of this jungle with this tiny little radio listening to the World Service, you know. The guys over this here, you know. And the first assistant saying, yeah, come on, Ray, Liam, we're out, we're doing this scene. Yeah, okay, we're coming. And we went out like true professionals. We put down the little wireless at the end of the 14th round. And we went out and resumed shooting, you know, in this like 105 degrees heat. And of course, some of the crew had stayed on and heard the result of the fight, and they wouldn't tell us. They told us that it was a draw, which meant that the champion had, you know, he had kept his title. So were we mad, you know? Of course we found out, you know, but it was great.
So you had some celebration then?
There was joy and jubilation. And my agent had actually sent me out a crate of Guinness to the Colombian jungle. Would you imagine? And I actually had this crate of Guinness, so we celebrated.
It was a less holy image, though, the next film that you made, the one with Julie Andrews. What was it called? Duet for One?
Yeah, Duet for One, yeah, with Julie. I played her lover, and, you know... So
what do you mean, you know?
Well, she's, you know, I was younger in those days, and she's a wee bit older, so it was...
She's a nice lady, though, isn't she?
She's a sweet woman, yeah, and very, you know, very, very sexy, you know. And we had this scene to do, which wasn't a love scene, which is hard enough, but what we had to do was like an after love scene, which is, you know, which means you're to have thought you've gone through all this thing, you know, and. Anyway, we end up, and I'm sitting on the bed with her dressing gown on, and Julie's lying between my legs with her head on my lap, you know, and we're talking sort of, you know, lovey-dove stuff. And you know, I'm sitting there and I suddenly think, God, I've got Mary Poppins, you know, but I'm sort of stupid, you know. And she's looking up very lovingly, you know, and I'm sort of thinking, my God, you know, this beats work for a living.
I must ask you about the Clint Eastwood movie, though, because you're in the next Dirty Harry film. At least the two of you would be just about the right height, wouldn't you?
Dirty Harry 5, yeah. But it's funny, you know, I'm 6'4" and a wee bit, and I know Clint Eastwood is 6'4", and he's also built like that, you know. This guy, he works out every day. His arms are out to there. He's, you know, he's a strapping lad, as they say back home. But most of my scenes were with him, you know, which was great and was a great personal thrill and all that. But they always put me lower than him, you know. And it was strange because I'm naturally tall, and anybody I've worked with, they're usually smaller, and I'm sort of talking down to them or whatever, you know. But with Clint, they're putting me down, and I'm having to look up there, you know, and you know, Clint's giving me all the eyes and stuff, and I just wanted to get up there, but you can't because Clint's the guy, you know, he's the hero. And because I was, you know, I'm supposed to be the sort of baddie, you know, a red herring baddie, I'm to be down there, you know.
Was he a big idol of yours anyway?
Oh, I loved Clint Eastwood, especially when he was a cowboy and all those Sergio Leone westerns, you know. But he's great. He's very self-deprecating. I remember after a few scenes he would... He doesn't like going more than like 2 or 3 takes, you know. He just likes to get on and do it. But he was... so after we'd do a scene, you know, he'd turn to Jack, who was the camera operator, and say, you know, Jack? And Jack would go, okay, Clint. Well, Liam, you were okay. I was my usual adequate self. He'd get on, you know. Get on to the next scene. No hanging around, you know.
Well, Liam, we think you're fabulous to come today. We really enjoyed the conversation. Thank you ever so much. And good luck. We look forward to seeing all the movies that you've been making.
Yeah, thanks.
Liam Neeson. after the break, it'll be the Queen of Hollywood herself, Joan Collins. To see you right after this.
Oh, those mini chef toys from Fisher-Price.
Well, my next guest is quite simply a star. Ronald and Nancy Reagan, no less, admitted that she had brought glamour back to Hollywood. She's an actress, centerfold, producer, and now novelist. It's the girl all the way from Bayswater, Joan Collins. Bayswater. Well, it was Bayswater originally, wasn't it?
Bayswater Road.
As you can see, you have a few fans in tonight.
That's good. I'm sure they're for you.
I want to explain just a few things, because when Joan joined me on Radio 2 not all that long ago, I played some of her records.
Yes.
And I must tell you, we have had endless requests for those records.
I don't believe you.
Truthfully.
You haven't. How did you get into my horoscope?
But you like to sing, don't you?
Well, I like to sing in the bath, yes, but after my last professional engagement of singing, which was in the miniseries Monte Carlo, I was so humiliated when I saw myself on the screen, particularly by the reviews, which were unkind, to say the least, that I decided that perhaps I might do better doing other things like acting or writing books or whatever.
Well, let's face it, you are this huge international star. You've even been a very successful producer. But why did you really want to become a novelist?
Well, first of all, I've always written. I've always liked to write since I was a child. When I was making up my mind, as children do, at the age of 8, 9, 10, 12, what I wanted to do, I couldn't make up my mind whether I wanted to be an actress, or whether I wanted to be a writer, or whether I wanted to be a dress designer, because I was interested in all of those things. So obviously I became an actress, but I still kept up the writing. And then when Dynasty became the #1 show in America, and then here and then Europe, it became very fascinating to me to watch and to be involved in what was really going on. And I thought that nobody has written a behind-the-scenes story of a television soap opera series from the point of view of somebody who's in it.
So was it made up really of part fact, part fiction or fantasy?
Oh, yes, absolutely. It's what they call faction, which is fact and fiction, and the reader has to decide what is real and what is not. Although there are very many things, obviously, that are real. I mean, the day-to-day, what I call the slog of the factory work, which is being on the set, falling over the cables, being in this wonderful studio, is totally accurate. And the things that go on in terms of what time you have to get up and what happens and how a scene is shot. Those kind of things I put in because I think that when you're writing about a subject, you should know some behind-the-scenes things. And then, of course, the romance and the erotic parts, I made those up.
Oh, pure imagination,
yes.
Wasn't it? Yes. Did you find it very easy to write all the sexy and sensuous bits?
Well, actually, strangely enough, I found it less easy than I thought it was going to be. I thought it would be quite easy, and then I would get to the particular part in which one of my heroines, Chloe, would be with one of my heroes, and I would say, write, because I write very fast when I'm writing my draft, there'll be a love scene here very sexy one, between Chloe and Matt. After 2 years, my publisher, my editor said, when are we going to read this very sexy love scene between Chloe and Matt? I mean, for 2 years, every time you do a read draft, I suppose I'm going to have to do it.
So were you avoiding doing it?
From ancient memory, I dredged up a love scene.
Why did you feel, though, that you had to make it very explicit?
I don't think it's very explicit, particularly. I think that it's quite romantic in lots of ways. I suppose there are some certain... I know that you're probably talking about the gay sequence.
The naughty bits.
The naughty bits. The bit when the man, I won't say who, goes and gets AIDS, and I don't really think there are such naughty bits. It doesn't seem naughty to me because I think that, sort of naughtiness is part of life.
How did Jackie react when you told her you were going to move into this area?
Yes. That's a good question. I should really start asking you questions, Gloria, because I'm sure this is the first time that that an interviewer has been the one that the people want to know the questions rather than the other way around, right?
Somehow or other.
Yeah, I think so. But we will lay off that subject.
All right, then. All right, that's a fair point. We call it quits, shall we?
Yes.
Well, the book is obviously a great success. And as you say, you're how far through the next one?
Well, I'm about a third, actually.
That's good.
And this one I have to do research on, because obviously with prime time, I'm in the middle of... I'm writing exactly about what I know, which is what everybody said. With the first novel, you must write about what you know, and obviously there are going to be characters in the book that are going to be autobiographical. You just can't help it. I had no intention of having them autobiographical, some of them, but some of the women turned out to have lots of me in, one way or another.
And actually, did a lot of your friends think, uh-oh, I'm going to turn up in the pages here?
Turn up in the pages?
Yeah.
Some of them did, yes. Some of them were quite pleased. A lot of my friends, I used their names because it was much easier to go through my telephone book and say, oh, yes, I'll use that name. I like that name, rather than sit for hours thinking about names. I found that quite fun. But I do really enjoy writing, and the thing that I really enjoy about it is that you can do it wherever, and you're your own boss.
Well, of course, you've got a lot of fans from Dynasty here tonight.
Yes.
And I'm sure they want to know, there's rumour, of course, that you're going to leave the series, so...
Well, it's not a rumour, it's true. Did I hear
like
I think that 7 years is long enough to do one part, and I loved doing Dynasty. I really loved it. I've enjoyed it. But I really want to move on and do other things. I have a television series of my own that I'm thinking of doing. I've got a couple of scripts that I'm talking about. I want to write, and I haven't said that I would never come back on a guest basis if the series goes on. It would be fun to come back sort of now and again and visit Denver, Hollywood, as it is. But in terms of just doing it week after week, I have started to phase that up. Well, that's why I'm here now. I have 3 weeks off for the Thanksgiving holidays, and then we go back for Christmas.
So do you always like to spend Christmas in Britain?
Well, I like to spend Christmas where my children are. So if they're usually in Britain because they live in Britain. Unfortunately, I'm going to be in California, it's not the greatest place for Christmas because it's hot and smoggy, and I quite like being in the snow.
So how will you spend it on Christmas Day?
On Christmas Day, well, I've got Katie with me and some friends because Tara and Sasha, their father is coming over here, so they're going to be with him, and some friends, and I'm going to cook a turkey again.
Hey, how long is it since you cooked a turkey?
Since 2 weeks ago, Thanksgiving.
Oh.
I cook 2 turkeys a year, and that's it.
Now, we're going to be watching you on television over Christmas because on Channel 4 there's that production of Hansel and Gretel. Now, what you have to do here is look very carefully at the beautiful face of Joan Collins. And now look at this clip.
I shall have to bake now to replace the bit of the roof and window you nasty children ate up.
What do I do?
I don't know. Go outside and do whatever it is that children do. And don't think for 1 minute that you can run away and get help. There isn't a single soul for miles around, and the minute I miss your scent, I shall eat your brother, fat or thin. Get out! I don't even like to look at children or even smell them. Unless they're cooking, of course.
How long for the makeup?
2.5 hours.
Oh.
But it was so much fun to do that, I must say. We were shooting in Hollywood. It was 95 degrees, and we made it mostly on location. I was so hot. My hump was very heavy. Then, like this false nose kept on coming off. And to get it on, they had to poke under it with sort of eyelash glue and stick it on. I mean, it was just a nightmare. The chin kept on coming off. But I think I'm quite unrecognizable then, don't you think?
Oh, well, absolutely. I should hope so.
Yeah. Seems like me.
Well, as long as the nose and the chin don't drop off into your soup, you're all right.
Yes, it's quite a fun piece, actually. It's definitely good for the children, too. I mean, I've seen that a few times, and I like it a lot. My children came to visit me when I was making it, and they came on the set and said, "Where's Mummy?" I said, here I am.
I'm going to eat you for dinner.
Yes.
Well, honestly, it's lovely to see you. We look
it's
forward,
lovely
of
to
course,
see
to
you.
seeing that particular show on Channel 4. And thank you ever so much for fitting us in before your Christmas. Ladies and gentlemen, Joan Collins. And that's all for this week. A reminder that next Sunday we make way for a very special programme with Princess Anne, but as usual we'll be here the following Sunday, so see you then. Bye-bye.